Awesome. It's a tight shot, but it's good.
It's a tight. So if I lean this way, I'm not gonna be in it.
Yeah, I think so. We have to like lean in. Cause no. I think we're good. I think we're good. Salud.
Salud, man.
Coffee
Cheers.
time.
Is it on already?
It's rolling, dude.
Oh, already?
We're rolling.
Now I'm nervous. Okay.
Woo! I love coffee.
Well, thanks for the caffeine.
Dude, I mean, I know you're a decaf kind of guy.
Yeah, because I used to get headaches from
Not
caffeine.
not today, my friends.
Okay.
All right, so welcome to the In My Element podcast, probably the world's only podcast that happens from the inside of a Honda Element. Today I'm with my homie Sandro, who actually lives in his Tesla.
Yeah.
And where are you visiting from?
Well, Massachusetts.
Okay.
So, but I'm kind of all over the place. So.
Yeah, you're just roaming around. We're in Southern California right now. Beautiful, sunny California. Oh, it's good to be here, man.
Yeah, man, for sure.
So you haven't heard of the Whistling Diesel's Tesla durability test?
I have not.
Do you even know who Whistling Diesel is?
Nope.
Okay.
So tell me. Yeah.
I'll tell you real quick, and then we'll get into your story. So Whistling Diesel is this YouTuber, and he does a durability test, right?
Mm-hmm.
And basically, he'll take like a Tesla in this instance, and he'll put it through different tests, and like he fucking destroys the cars, dude.
Love
He-
that. I'm gonna
dude,
watch that.
Dude, you know what? Can I tell you what he did? I'm gonna tell you guys. Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Okay.
All right.
Go ahead.
So he put on these giant buggy wheels.
Oh, I've seen
Yo,
it. No, I've seen like a short on it. Like
Yeah.
somebody- Oh yeah.
Yeah, he put on these giant buggy, bigger than the Tesla, and he
Yeah.
drove the Tesla upside down.
Yeah.
Dude, it's bonkers. You
Yeah.
gotta watch.
Oh, I think I'm gonna watch it now.
You're gonna cry because it totally destroys the Tesla.
I mean, honestly, like, I drive this car like it's meant to be driven.
Yeah.
Like, I stopped cleaning the exterior. Like, I keep the interior very nice and tidy because it's like my home. But, dude, I bulldoze that thing through like the desert, tropical forests, like up in Washington, through the snow. Don't really care. Got a couple scratches, whatsoever.
So you live in a Tesla.
Mhm.
What was the impetus to be like, all right, I'm living in a Tesla now? Why do you live in a Tesla?
Well, originally I bought the car last year because I just wanted to travel, right? And I wanted to do it most efficiently and cost effective. And the car is just so cool, right?
That's for sure.
And then I kind of like I drove down to Texas to visit my guest family in Texas. And it kind of dawned on me like, hey, I can actually, because I camped out in it for like a couple of days, like stretches, and I was like, whoa, I can actually live in this if I get like a little mini fridge, right? That's all I basically need. And then so that was like end of May last year, and then I fast forward to October. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go travel. I'm just gonna live in my Tesla, just shoot some cool content on my YouTube channel, and that's how it came. Sorry, that's how it kind of came to be. Just living in my Tesla, it just came. It came to me, and
So just like the urge to travel and doing it without having to pay gas.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I think I'm about to publish a new video about how I talk about how basically I'm unemployed, living in a Tesla, right? Technically, I don't have a real job, and breaking down the finances and how if you really want to travel and you can live minimally, then I think that's the way to go. Even with like a Honda Element, this is a very spacious interior. This is like a studio apartment,
basically.
basically.
It's beachfront property, actually.
I mean, look at your backyard.
I know, it's nice.
Yeah.
So on that note, what do you do to make money? Like while are you working at all? Is it all on YouTube?
Well, honestly, right now I do Uber Eats.
Okay.
That's my main income. So some days I drive for 12 hours, make like $150, $200. Like my overhead per month is like less than $900, right? So it's very minimal. So I don't need to drive that much actually. And then I do like little side jobs. Like I walk dogs, potentially house sit for people. But it's kind of all over the place. But I like that freedom right? Just being able to travel and say yes to every opportunity that comes my way. Because I think through my traveling, I have kind of created this network all around the United States, like business owners that potentially want to do like a brand deal, you know, because I have a YouTube channel, they might reach out. So yeah, it's super neat how this works out, and I never saw this coming. Put it that way, you know.
Yeah. So as you were traveling throughout the states, like what was the coolest state you've been at, or like what was the coolest adventure you've had besides this one here with me?
Yeah,
You
for
know?
sure. Well, there's two things. I think Badlands National Park, right? So that's in South Dakota. It was just before winter, so it was off season. They had like what do you call this? Like dry camping,
Okay.
right? Back at the park. Well, the park is gigantic, but there was a place, and there were coyotes at night, and they would all just howl super loud right before sunset, which is super cool. There was like a buffalo, like a buffalo, like all around you. They walk through your campsite, like I mean it's their land. So that's one of my favorite places, and the other one was probably British Columbia. When I first crossed the border into Canada, from Idaho into Canada, just the sheer drive through the mountains is just I've never seen before. So those are my two favorite places that I've visited, and also those were the places I met really cool people too. So
Who did you end up meeting?
well, I met Jimmy living in Tesla in Vancouver.
Who's Jimmy?
Well,
I know who Jimmy is, but you tell us who Jimmy is.
so he was actually he's become a good friend of mine. He was actually one of the first people I think on YouTube that lives full time in his Tesla. It's been about a year and a half, I would say. And I wanted to meet him because he was an inspiration for me. And then we met up, we did some adventures together. He actually helped me build out my camper box as well.
Super sick.
Yeah, you know, that really changed my life on the road because cooking, like simple little like chores became easier. I got portable water right now that I can just use for like cleaning dishes or drinking. Yeah, so.
And then, so I went on Instagram and I asked everybody like, hey, what are some questions we should ask you? So I'm just gonna like rapid fire maybe a few of them. So how do you stay warm in the Tesla?
So I stay warm with camping mode.
Okay,
right?
what's that?
Camping mode is essentially it's a setting in the climate controls. You tap it, and then the car knows you're camping inside of it. So it disables sentry mode. Sentry mode is like a security feature, right? But it can't keep you awake if it's on, because the car alerts you that somebody's near. So it disables that. It locks the door so nobody can come from the outside to the inside. Keeps the climate at a certain temperature that you set it at, right? During the winter, I set it to like 22 degrees Celsius. I think that's like 70-ish. And then during the summertime, I just keep the AC on all night, and you don't hear it at all, which is super luxurious. But what I've been doing actually lately is that I actually realized I actually don't need that, right? I think right now the weather is more than enough to just, I turn my car off at night, I just sleep in it.
It's just perfect, yeah.
It's just perfect, right? I mean, the windows do fog up, but don't really care.
Yeah. In the summer, like the summer having AC, I would kill, dude, because like in the element, like I can roll down the windows a little bit. These side windows, they actually pop open, which is nice.
Oh, nice.
And then the rear moonroof pops open. So then with the fan, like it does a pretty good job of like staying cool in here, but like on those really hot nights, having some AC would just be like such a game changer.
Because for you to have AC, you have to have your car on.
Yeah, like an old school gas engine.
Yeah.
Have you never owned a gas car?
I have, but
Okay.
it's been like almost 4 years.
What was your gas car?
A Ford Escape.
Okay, yeah.
And I actually drove that car across the country too, from Boston to San Francisco a couple years ago. So that's interesting because even for example, when I'm cooking our dinner, my car is always on, so I can play music for like 2 hours without having to like turn the ignition again.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super sweet.
You know, that makes me think like a future generation, maybe after Gen Z, they're gonna like gas car. Like, what do you mean you have to turn the car on? Like, they're gonna have no idea about this. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I think I've gotten so too used to this. Like, if I ever drive a gas car again, it's probably have to like reteach myself Like it's
Yeah.
just, I mean, it's like you could say muscle memory in a way. Just, I mean, I don't even have keys. I just walk away from my car. The car locks.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's super neat.
Yeah. There are definitely like some little like upgrades I would like to do to the Element, like a GPS unit up here because it's just so old. Like it's 2005 technology and those head units are not that. Anyway, you're like, what is this?
Buttons.
So, you went to Canada, you said, right?
Mm-hmm,
And then you drove down to California.
Mm-hmm.
The other question that people were asking is like, can you really road trip in a Tesla? Like, are you limited by range? Like, when you think about van life, you might think about people who are like in the desert, in the middle of nowhere. Like, what do you do if you run out of range, like in the middle of the desert? You're just kind of stuck. Like,
I mean, at the end of the day, just like you drive a gas car, you do have to plan, right? Because there are going to be stretches along the highway where the next gas station could be 50 miles away, right? But for Tesla navigation has built in, like, let's say I go here back to Boston, it's going to route me exactly back to Boston with supercharging stops. It's going to tell you exactly how long you're going to be there, which is very convenient. So it's less stress on you, right? Everything's Tesla's kind of already thought about very conveniently to make road trips go with ease, right? And for example, I've been in really remote stretches where the next supercharging stop is like 25, 30 miles away, which is where I'm at. That's not far at all.
Right.
So I think I'm speaking about the United States right now, that I've never really had range anxiety besides a moment in South Dakota when it was like I had really like strong headwind. It was like really, really cold, so I consumed more energy. I actually had to turn all the electronics off in the car, like even my fridge, just because I got to the charging stop with like 1%.
whoa.
Right, and I know I can hit 0% and still be okay because there's an additional like I think 10%.
Right. It's
safety.
just kind of like, yeah.
But otherwise, if I go camp out in the middle of nowhere, I just juice it up to 90% and I'll be fine, right? Because worst comes to worst, like the other time I was in Washington State, Olympic National Park had like 2 supercharging stops just at each end of the park, and that night it consumed a lot. So I think midway through the night I did wake up just to see how much juice was being used. I just turned off my car.
Yeah.
And it was fine. I still made it to the charging stop with like 7-8%, which is more than enough. That's like 30 miles.
So in your experience, road tripping the Tesla is not a huge deal. As long as you kind of plan your stops. And the Tesla seems like it does it kind of automatically for you.
Yeah, and I have like this app called PlugShare. Let me show you guys. It's an app called PlugShare.
Okay.
Right here. And these are all the charging stops around this area. Right, so the orange ones are superchargers, and then the green ones are level 2. So that's between 6 to 11 kilowatts, which is slow, but still fast enough if you charge it overnight.
You know, I just thought of this brilliant idea, and someone, yeah, I'm gonna share it. Why not? Because, dude, like, all right, what if there was like a network of like Tesla owners who can rent out their charging port at home? Like, if you had to like just stop at their house, like if you're driving and all the superchargers are full, and like you just stop at someone's house and charge up there with their like little Tesla thing.
With the Tesla destination charge, I think that might become a thing in the future, because now Tesla's actually thrown open to superchargers to other EVs. Right. So,
but
it might become more congested.
Yeah.
So if let's say you don't actually need to supercharge, you just need maybe like 20% to get to your next destination. You want to take your time. That could be a potential like solution.
Like, yeah, you can like pay, like the people who rent it out can like get a little money from it, and everyone could have a charging port.
Yeah.
That's a good idea right there. Holy crap! I might have to cut that part out, dude.
Well, a friend of mine in the Netherlands is buying like level 2 chargers.
Okay.
Right. And
okay, that's kind of smart actually.
Yeah. Because you don't really, like, most people don't really need to supercharge.
Yeah.
Right? Level 2 charging overnight is more than enough to get him through the day. So that's what he's doing. He's buying up all these stalls, and then maintenance is very little, but you have to get permits. It is an extensive process, but once it's there,
You're set.
You're set, because you're just like you're given cows and then no, you have cows and they're just giving you the milk.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. So the Netherlands, you live there? You born there, or?
I was born in the Netherlands. I actually just moved back from the Netherlands in May. I lived there for 3 years. That's where I was a pro.
A pro?
Footballer.
I know.
Oh, my God. Sorry. Yeah, so I used to be a professional footballer. I retired last
No big
August.
deal.
I mean,
You're very humble, dude.
I just caught a ball. That's all I did. Well, I tried to. Anyway, so I was born in the Netherlands. I moved to Brazil when I was 8 years old. I lived there for 3 years. And then I moved to Panama when I was 11. And then I lived there for 2 years. And then I moved to Boston when I was 13.
Whoa.
And I've been in the US on and off for about 10 years or so. So kind of all over the place. And now I'm home free.
So were you inspired to be a pro footballer from like the get-go? Was your time in Brazil influence that?
I think the time in Brazil, because I used to play field hockey.
Okay.
Right? Because in South America, field hockey is like a men's sport. Like here in the US, field hockey college for men, it's not a thing.
Is that like lacrosse? What is field hockey?
Field hockey is like...
Is that where you have like a long stick with the net on top?
No, that's lacrosse.
Okay.
Field hockey is like you have like a little hard ball.
Uh-huh.
And then you have a stick.
Like hockey?
Yeah.
Right?
So it's... Oh, you could say it's hockey, but no ice.
Well, grass.
Yeah, like
Okay.
grass, yeah.
Okay, interesting.
It's a big sport in Europe, and then in South America in Brazil they don't play that sport.
Ah, I see.
So I kind of started kicking a ball around, and I think I fell in love with the game there, because there people all they do is play football. And then I think when I went to Panama, I joined an academy and kind of got a taste of serious football, but not till I got to the United States, which is kind of funny. Because the U.S. is not, in my opinion, not really a football country because there's so many other great sports that they're competing with.
Dude, like you just lost half the audience.
I'm sorry.
But everyone just clicked off for now.
But there was a coach I met, Francis Okaro, that played for the Nigerian national team that really like mentored me through my career. Without him and Billy Levitsky, like two guys that were part of my team when I was playing and still are some of my best friends today, really mentored me through my career, because like I'm a goalkeeper, and I hate to put this, but I got discriminated for my height, right? But I was like, I'm not gonna let other people decide my potential. So it was a really hard grind for almost 10 years to get to the place that I got to. But it taught me so much about like rejection, discipline. Like that's why I'm a huge favor of if you ever have a kid, let the kids play sports, because it's gonna teach them something maybe indirectly. Whether they go pro or not, that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's more about the person you become, right? Yeah.
That's awesome,
Yeah,
man.
thanks, man.
What is the average height of like a keeper?
Oh, that's like 6'3".
No
Yeah,
shit.
6'2", 6'3", and
Holy.
I'm below 6.
Damn.
So I already knew the kind of like mountain I had to climb.
Yeah. Wow.
So I think for like 10 years, I basically kind of disappeared off the planet, just focused on football. And I think once I achieved what I wanted to achieve, I was like, okay, what is next? I still love the game. I still watch football. I watch highlights all the time, but I want to do something else, which is traveling right now. See this, like I wasn't born here, so I feel like I'm already in a privileged position to live in this country. I was like, you know what, take full advantage. Let's travel, meet great people, see beautiful places. So yeah.
That's dope, man.
Thanks, man.
So like growing up, I didn't really do sports. I tried football in middle school. Actually, I did t-ball in like elementary, but I tried football in like middle school. And I'm like, this is just dumb, dude. I'm just gonna get like, there's this huge dude coming at me, like trying to knock me out. I'm like, I don't want to get hit. Like this is dumb. So I did band. I did.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was cool. I took more of the artist path, I did like, what really like set it off for me was ballet. I studied ballet in college.
Nice.
And that like it's just a serious like discipline. Like you have to get up every morning. You have to be there like 30 minutes before to like warm your own body up, and then the group warm up starts, and then you go through like these motions of like I forget. It's the plie section. It's where you just like start to warm up your body, and then you go across the room, and everyone's watching. Like it's this whole thing, but that's where I got a lot of my discipline from. But recently, I've been racing sailboats, and it's kind of giving me this like competition aspect, which I never really had much of in my life.
Interesting.
And it's awesome. I like the competition because it really pushes you. You're like, you're competing against other people. You don't want it. No one wants to lose.
No.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it's I could only imagine like when you're playing a team sport.
Yeah.
And you've got like pro footballers kicking balls at you. How fast do those balls come at you?
Pretty fast. I think this is really, really random.
Yeah.
The last shot that somebody ever shot on me, my last game in the Netherlands, I actually fractured my finger.
Oh shit.
But that's the weirdest thing because I've never had like a serious injury like that before. But it was like the last shot somebody ever took on me. But they come on hard.
Dude,
and
I
from
bet.
like 6-7 yards, people I mean, their job is to score. My job is to prevent them from scoring.
So you do anything you can.
I'd rather get hit in the face than let it go in.
Right. Of
Right?
course.
Like that's I never took it personal if they scored on me because at the end of the day, that's just like
It's their job.
it's their job and it's gonna happen. But I would put everything on the line. Like,
Right.
I think this is also during COVID. My last year, I came back to Boston for some off-season training. I had 2 weeks off, so I came back to Boston to train with Billy, and it was like below zero, right? I could show you the picture after. It was below zero. It had just snowed, and we were still out there because I had a job to do, which was to finish the season so we could win a championship. And we ended up winning a championship, which is something I'm really proud of because that, like, I talked to like a journalist and he said, "What did that feel like?" And he said, "Well, that's 10 years of work that I put into for that moment, right?" So
Yeah.
I was like, I'm this close. I'm not gonna piss it off,
Right.
Right. So, but yeah. So
What team, what club did you play for?
So I played for VV Dongen, which
Okay.
is like a team in like the middle of the Netherlands. It's
Oh,
a very
okay.
small, like, village kind of like football club, but the fans are absolute lunatics.
Oh, that's cool.
Proper fans. I would go to a grocery store and just be doing my shopping. People would be like, "Oh, what's the score prediction going to be this weekend?" And I'll be like, "I'm just getting here avocados, man." No, I'm kidding. But like, people will be so excited for the game. Sometimes even more excited than you. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So it felt like to really I embraced the culture and it was exciting. So yeah, it was an absolute privilege to be there.
Who is your favorite footballer?
Oh, Emiliano Martinez. So
Okay.
he's a goalkeeper. He
Okay.
just won the World Cup. And the reason why I liked him a lot.
Felicidades.
Yeah.
Is he Argentinian?
Yeah, he's
Okay.
Argentinian.
Yeah.
The reason why I like him a lot because for I think 8 or 9 years, he was Arsenal's number 2. Right? Arsenal kept him, just long story short, because he was a reliable backup. But you never want to be a backup in sports. I always want to play. But anyways, so he transferred to another club, right? He actually won a trophy, then transferred to another club, and before you know it, he's a World Cup champion. So like he was like, you know, but that was for me like just the lows that you saw. Like I mean, I watched this game when he did play. He made some blunders, right? Because he wasn't playing, so it's expected. But then to win the World Cup too, like
Oh,
just
man.
self-belief. That's something I admired.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know much about football.
It's okay.
But I just know like the fans are crazy,
Crazy.
dude, crazy. And I did watch the World Cup this year. It was Argentina and who?
The final?
Yeah.
France.
Yeah.
France, yeah.
That game was so exciting, man. I
Yeah.
was like on the edge of my seat watching this game.
Let me tell you something.
Tell me.
So
Tell everybody.
I was in Vancouver, right? And kickoff was, I think, 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. And I found this bar. There was like the number 1 bar in Vancouver. So I was like, okay, I got to be there, right? So I ended up parking my car at like 5 in the morning and sitting on the stairs from 5 to 7, 2 hours. I read a book and talked to some of the fans, but it was like, because last time I went there, they were fully booked out.
Oh,
so it was
crap.
So it was like first come, first serve. So I'm like, I'm gonna be the first one there. I'm not. So then I got the center seat. Like it was crazy because I had 2 big. I got to pick my seat and I was so happy. But it was so exciting to see because I wasn't the only one who got there at like 5. I was the first one, but then people started lining up. Before you know, it was like around the block. But yeah, that was probably the best game I've ever seen. Just, you know, it was real. So
Do you own is it Emilio? His jersey?
Emiliano.
Emiliano. Do you own his jersey?
I do not.
Oh, okay.
I'm not, like, even when I was playing, I didn't really idolize any teams. I would watch like certain styles of football or watch certain players about how they did things, but I wasn't like a diehard fan of like one particular club. Maybe because I was in the same field. Um, yeah, I mean the only jersey that I have is actually mine when I made my debut for the first team, and then my dad a Santa jersey,
Oh man.
and that hangs up in the living room. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Do you want to share that or not really?
Yeah. Yeah. What do you want to know?
About your dad?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is just a footnote in his life, but he passed away May 11th, 2021, which is going to be 2 years coming soon. But that's actually one of the main reasons why I'm doing the thing I'm doing now. Like, I've actually gotten to understand how valuable time is. Like, I want to be with you. I want to share this conversation with you. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here because I don't want to waste my time. But it kind of like, I grew up overnight. I saw things in a very different way. You know, I've become a lot bolder. You know, I say what I want to say. I don't bullshit around anymore, you could say. But like, this is like really personal, but on like my father's deathbed, I asked him, like, is there anything else that you regret doing? And he said no. So, I mean, he took my family just to different countries, like, you know, but he was taking huge risks, you know. So he was telling me about how other people got offered the same position, but because of this, they couldn't do it. But he was like, you know, I'm just gonna go, and that's how kind of I am, you know. So I kind of see that myself from my parents. Just go and see where it kind of takes you, because it's life, you know. It's like time is really finite, and but yeah. So like, I don't know what exactly, like, are you spiritual or?
Yeah, I mean, like I grew up in like Catholicism, like Catholic, Christian sort of thing, and then as I got older, I got into like more like spirituality, like Zen Buddhism and like yoga, sort of like spirituality sort of things. And I did a psychedelics a little bit, and that kind of influenced like my perspective on the world a lot. But now as I get a little older, like I don't know, like a little bit of like the Christianity that I grew up with kind of comes back here and there. Like there'll be like just like random moments where people will like post like a TikTok or something talking about how like God touched them and talked to them. And I had this like really low point the other day, and my mom's like, you should pray to God. And I was like, all right, I haven't done that in ages, you know what I mean? And I did, and it felt good. And I don't know if that's like a form of meditation, but yeah, so I'm somewhere in between like Christianity and spirituality. You know, I don't who knows?
Exactly.
You know, who really knows?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I mean, I don't necessarily pray, but I do talk to the universe.
Yeah.
You know, but one of the other reasons why, like, my dad, like, he loved this country. Like, he passed away on American soil, and that was a big deal for me personally because he's Dutch, right? But he loved this country so much, and I feel like
he died on Dutch soil.
No, he passed away here.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But he was buried in the Netherlands. I mean, cremated in the Netherlands.
Wow.
Those were his wishes, right? But I feel like when I'm traveling, just certain things happen along my travels, and I feel like I'm showing my dad this country. Like, it's whatever you believe. You know, there's certain things that's happened to me that I feel like, okay, that just isn't coincidence. So that's also one of the reasons why I'm doing this, because I feel like he's with me sometimes. It's like really hard to explain the feeling, but I feel like if you know, like, you know, or maybe make yourself believe it, but that doesn't matter. It's just like even like the cowboy hat I have,
right?
You know, that's a reminder of my dad when he lived in Texas for a year, right? And those were his best times of his life, and yeah, and I'm just showing him around the country basically.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. Well, thanks for asking. You know, because that's a very personal story, and I don't openly talk about this to everybody. Well, now I have, because, but I think I can talk about it. You know, I'm also finding, as days go on, like, more peace about my dad's. I'm not mad or anything. I just, sometimes the sadness is like really, really heavy. So I feel like when I get to share this perspective, like why I'm doing this, I like to take the time kind of explain my backstory, because it goes very, very deep, you know. But thanks for asking.
I mean, I ask because I think there's deep value in it. Like, for people, whoever's listening or watching, it's like, there's lessons to be learned there. Like you said, you're like much more bold, and you kind of go after what you want in life because of your dad's passing, you know, and time is finite, and that's so true. And like, I feel like any reminder that you get about that is like a good one, because it's like, yeah, you know, at any moment this can just.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm doing right now, even you, like you live on the road, like
Yeah.
the most dangerous thing you do on the road is driving.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah,
And driving
that's
is
a
like,
good point.
like it's very dangerous, especially California drivers, because nothing personal, but you guys suck. No, but anyways.
Oh, that's it. The comments are blowing up right now. You
Uh,
lost them all, dude.
Anyways, but yeah, that's, you're taking your life every day when you're driving, right?
That's fair, yeah.
You could drive the safest vehicle, but you can get really unlucky. So that's why I still try to. It sounds cliche, but kind of live every day like to my fullest. Like just look back at it and I'd be like, you know, today was a really good day. Even when I drive for Uber Eats, I'm thankful for the orders, or I'm thankful for the people I get to meet. Because sometimes I have like a quick conversation with somebody when I deliver their food, you know, because I'm on time usually. So, you know, so I'm thankful for that.
If you see Sandro on Uber Eats, you give him a nice tip, all right?
I'm not expecting
he
anything.
made $33 the other day. That's rough, man.
That was a rough day, but it was $33 I didn't have at the beginning of the day.
True.
And for $33, I can feed myself for 3 days. So,
Okay, fair enough.
happy camper.
Let's give this video a thumbs up while we're at it, so we can put some money in Sandro's pocket, and then also we can check out your YouTube channel. I'll leave links down below in the description, so you guys can like check out his story and how he lives in his Tesla and all that stuff. So anyway, it's enough of that plug. Do you speak like Portuguese? Do you speak Dutch? What do you speak?
So I speak Spanish.
Okay.
I speak English, and then I speak Dutch.
Okay.
Right? Portuguese is kind of funny because I can completely understand it. I can kind of speak it a little bit, but because when I moved from Holland to Brazil, I didn't speak a word English, so the school I went to was just teaching me English. I remember my first day of school like it was yesterday. It's just I didn't understand anything. So, and I lived there for 3 years, so my English was developing. So Portuguese didn't really take a front seat.
Right.
But what's interesting, when I lived in Panama, like it was the weirdest thing. I instantly learned Spanish.
Really?
Yeah, and then when I went to like classes about like how to speak Spanish, you know, like Spanish 101, I was the worst. But I could speak Spanish, I just couldn't do like the congregation stuff.
Right. Like yeah.
So like, yo hablo español.
Sí.
¿Y tú?
Un poco.
Un poquito?
Sí.
Okay. Qué bien. So, but if I had to like do the congregation and that stuff, I get an F on my test. But
I see.
I was probably the most native speaking person in the class in a lot of ways, right? Because I was put in that section of like English first language, Spanish second. Yeah.
That's wild. I'm curious to know what Dutch sounds like. Can you like say something in Dutch for us?
Yeah.
Like,
So, dit is Steven en vandaag hebben we een kleine podcast over mijn leven en zijn leven.
okay. What does that mean?
So,
Translation.
Translation. Today I'm with Steven, and today we're doing a little podcast about my life and Steven's life, living on the road.
Well, I gotta give a shout out to my man Armin van Buren. He's my favorite Dutch fucking. Oh, excuse me. I got too excited. My favorite like Dutch DJ.
Yeah.
Dude, I always listen to his podcast all the time. A State of Trance.
Oh, I didn't even know he had a podcast.
So it's kind of like a radio show.
Okay.
But it's like once a week. It's called A State of Trance, and he just like puts all the trance music into this like 2-hour-long playlist, and he has people call in, and it's like, all right, what is your service for dreamers? And that's basically like, they tell the story of this trance song that they heard and why they love it so much, and then he plays it like over the air.
Is it on Spotify?
Yeah, I'm sure it's on Spotify.
Okay. And it was trance.
A State of Trance.
A State of trance. I'm gonna listen to that.
Dude, I want to go to the Netherlands, and I want to go to his studio because he invites people over.
Sick.
So if you ever want to go to the Netherlands, I'm down.
Well, it's gonna be a while because I basically said my goodbyes in May last year.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, life is long most of the time.
Hopefully. Yeah, man. But so for 3 years, I basically rode a bike everywhere, right? So I saved a boatload of money.
Oh, because you're living in the Netherlands. Okay.
Yeah. That's how I was able to afford this car.
Yeah.
Just saving shit ton of money, Oops, sorry. Boatload of
okay.
money. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't glorious. Like, my ride to the training ground sometimes took me an hour because headwind and rain.
Yeah, you're warming up though.
Yeah, I'm warming up before the warm up. But it gave me a lot of time to just. It was time for me. I was able to think because I was like out there just reflecting on stuff, you know.
So I had this summer.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little longer than a summer, but I was riding my bike everywhere because I was like trying to protect the environment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was feeling bad driving gas cars everywhere.
Awful.
So, yeah. So I had this like single speed bike, and I was living here in Orange County, and then my friends would be like going to a party, right? I was like, all right, I'll meet you there. I'll get my bike and I'll meet you there.
Love that.
And then they're like, all right, we're going to the next location. And like so I hopped on my bike, like I'm gonna beat these guys there. So I just like jam in as fast as I can to the party. And you know, they have to get in, they have to buckle up, they have to turn the car on, they have to wait for everybody. But as soon as like they were like, all right, next location, I like ran out, hopped on my bike, and I just booked it. And I would beat people to the party, even though they're in a car, you know? And it was just my ego. And they're like, how'd you get here so fast? And I'm like,
Soaked in sweat too, probably.
yeah. Well, that was a fun. So I love riding my bike, man. I haven't done it in a while.
See, actually for like a full year, I avoided bikes because I was so sick of it. Like my butt hurt a lot too. But I think whenever I decide to upgrade my Tesla, I'm gonna get like a bike rack.
Yeah.
And just buy one bike because especially when I want to tour a city, I don't like paying $20 to rent out a bike. I'd rather just have my own and just can take it whenever, you know.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who is she was like traveling on her bike like miles and miles, just like across the country,
Wow.
just like that's.
I respect that.
Dude, I would love to do that. Like I would actually like to do it on my motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
I have a motorcycle, and I think that'd be cool. Just load it up and just hit the road. Because there's something when you're in the car, it's like, and you're traveling, it's very comfortable. It's like a little too safe. You're like slightly disconnected from the world. And even in a motorcycle, you kind of zoom by things too fast. But when you're on a bike, you're like really in it. And at any point, you can just like stop. Like, oh, that looks cool, I'm gonna stop.
Mm-hmm.
But on a motorcycle, there's a bit more work involved. Like pull over, find parking, take off the helmet, you know. But on a bike, you're just like, there it is.
Yep.
You know, block it, and I don't know. So I glamorize bike travel.
You know, I actually did that on my days off. When I was living in the Netherlands, I would just take my bike somewhere. I'll put it on a train, and I'll just Google Map, be like, I'm gonna go visit that town, and just kind of tour around. And
Cool.
Get a coffee, work on my YouTube videos. That's when I first started my channel. But I was basically, in some shape or form, a tourist in my own country, which is kind of sounds really weird. But when the club like announced my transfer, the American Dutch returned. So I was like, okay, cool.
That's cool.
So that's how people got to know me. It's like the American boy. And they were really actually skeptical at first because they're like, well, this American is he able to play with his feet, you know, as a goalkeeper, and I did very well. So
Okay, nice. You showed them what's up.
I showed them what's up, but that was interesting. I just.
Did you read any books that like inspired your journeys and like to live in a Tesla? Is there any books in particular that you're like, ooh, that really?
Books. Oh.
I know. What are those?
No, I have actually a little miniature library in my car that it's stashed under the, whatever you call these?
Oh, I remember. Yeah, the floor mat.
The floor mat. I mean, it's more like the book Relentless by Tim Grover.
Okay.
So Tim Grover was the personal trainer of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, and it's just his sport philosophy I kind of apply to my life in a lot of way, like the discipline, being really, really bold, like knowing what you want and just going after it. I think that book still, those principles I still apply today. They're embedded in me, you know. Same thing when you did ballet. Like, you don't think about ballet every day, but you know certain things that taught you, that you were taught, that you still do to this day, I bet. You know? But that's just one book.
Yeah, that sounds good. On Relentless, you said?
Relentless, yeah.
Robert Grover?
Tim Grover.
Tim Grover.
I've read that book 3 times.
Okay.
Um,
Wow.
and I've given it away.
Ooh, okay. That's when you know it's a good book.
Yeah.
When you give me like this, there's something in here so good,
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
I read this book called the Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance.
Okay.
It's a fantastic book, but it's like there's this guy who's traveling on his motorcycle, and his is like an older motorcycle, and he's traveling with his buddy with like a newer motorcycle, and periodically his motorcycle will like break down and stuff. So and he throws in all these like Zen philosophies like as he's fixing up his motorcycle. It's
Wow,
like
that's sick.
and he travels like I had to reread this book. It's been so long.
What was it called?
Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. I'm gonna get that tonight. I just love that book so much, and it inspired a lot of my adventures in here, because it was like a lot about like freedom and
Yeah.
you know.
I think talking about freedom, I have the ultimate freedom. I think you do some as well, because you get to decide what you do with your time,
Sure.
right? Like obviously there's still work involved because you have to make money, but at the end of the day, like you don't really have a set schedule. You would say, like
Yeah.
today we're doing this podcast because we can. You know, I mean it's a Saturday, but
Yeah.
you know, I think you feel very alive. Could you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay. So
yeah.
that's exactly why I'm going after this too, because I feel so alive. Right.
So okay. When you were right now, what makes you feel most alive is traveling.
It's traveling. Yeah. Simple as that. Just being adventurous.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, there's something about it, just like waking up in new places every day, and
I mean, it also has the flip side, because let's talk about this.
Yeah.
I think when you have routines, they can calm you, they can ground you. But my routine is pretty much every day a little bit different. I mean, I wake up, I go to Planet Fitness to shower. That's important.
Yeah.
But I also go work out. This morning I worked out. But it's every day usually a new Planet Fitness. So, or like when I'm sleeping at night, usually when I finish my last order for Uber Eats, I park down the street and just set up shop right there, right? But sometimes it can be really overwhelming, because I've had nights before where I had to move at like 1 a.m. because either the street was too loud or I just didn't feel safe, right? And I'm making a judgment call based, like, it sounds kind of silly, but on the houses then where I'm going to sleep, right?
Yeah.
If I'm in a neighborhood that I feel like kind of really sketching me out, I'm not going to camp out there.
Yeah.
You know, it might be safe, but so you're constantly like getting into new environments. Like you could be like, a friend of mine was like, what kind of protection do you have? And I said, well, I got my pepper spray, you know, I got my knife that I put next to my bed. I mean, honestly, if someone's going to rob me at night, they could take the car.
Yeah.
Just let them take what they want. But just going back, so you're always kind of on your toes.
Right.
Right? Like last night, I was sleeping perfectly fine. I think around 2 a.m, I heard voices. I woke up instantly, just like that. No sentry mode alert or anything like that. Just I woke up. It took me about 30 minutes to get back to sleep, because, you know, you hear something, you're like, okay. You know, I look at the cameras. There was somebody on the other side of the street, but they were loud. So, you know, there is some form of like restlessness. You know, have you ever experienced that? Oh.
Yeah, I have, but I'll be honest. Maybe I've just been doing it for too long. I'm super comfortable. Like, I'm super comfortable. I feel super safe. But like, I gotta be honest. I'm kind of privileged in a way, because I've been kind of in the same area. I know all the spots that I sleep at all the time. We're in Orange County. It's like super safe part of the world. I mean, like it's my view is skewed, but when I have been out traveling, like going to different places, yeah, it's a bit scarier because you're not really sure. You're unfamiliar territory.
Because you actually told me, if you want to talk about this, that you've actually had two attempts, somebody breaking into your car.
Yeah. So this. Oh, no worries.
I gained a new follower for sure, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You guys should read the Motorcycle Diaries.
Oh my goodness.
Clara. It's really good.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You can check us out if you want.
Yeah.
It's
I found your podcast already.
What? What? No way. How'd you do that?
Pretty iconic. What's your car's name? Element, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, In My Element.
That's so funny.
It's totally overhearing you, but
Cool.
What is your name? What is your name?
I'm Sydney.
Sydney.
Yeah, I'm from here. I've lived here my whole life.
Okay,
but,
cool.
It was such a treat. Thank you.
Yeah,
guys.
so sorry to hopefully we weren't disruptive.
No, it's okay. No, I was
What?
It's like 6 a.m.
Oh my goodness.
What were you reading?
The book from my mom, it's called The Lost Apothecary. It's like historical fiction.
Oh, okay.
It's really good. Historical fiction is my favorite, but yeah. So have
But
a
thanks,
good
That's rad. Let's say hi, Sydney, right?
Yeah.
Thank-
Sorry to interrupt.
No!
Thanks for the follow and subscribe. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for
How cool is that?
That's so
I'll see you
interesting.
later. Bye, guys.
Bye. It's nice meeting you.
Oh man, that's cool.
Yeah.
I've never had that happen
No,
before.
that's interesting.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I did notice. Well, talking about like camping out, I'm very aware of my surroundings usually. Like even when I'm sitting in my car, I have my cameras pulled up.
Yeah.
So if somebody gets near it, you know, I'm not blindsided. That makes, because sometimes I'm editing for 2 hours, but I still can glance over if somebody's near my car.
Yeah. Hold that thought. I want to
Yeah.
I want to readjust
Yeah,
the
I gotcha.
camera.
Yo, we already had like a listener.
What's that?
We already had like a listener.
I know that was cool.
That's pretty cool.
She was into it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's Miss Sydney, right?
Sydney.
Sydney.
Yeah.
I was just reading a book.
So I feel like this is part of like, I told you what I want to do with the podcast, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel like that could be a cool aspect of it. You know, just like random people just showing up like, oh, that's cool. I want to come in and
Just join the conversation.
yeah.
That'd be neat.
Yeah.
But you might get people who
Like just total crazies.
like trolls.
Yeah, I don't want that.
But at the end of the day, you have really nothing to lose, I think.
Yeah.
You might get like a couple good minutes and then.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, who knows? You know.
But talking about safety, so you had 2 scenarios where somebody broke in or almost attempted.
Right.
Like, how did you diffuse it? Because I want to know, like, let's say I
Sure,
get in that
sure.
situation.
Yeah.
What is the best action?
So, basically, here's what happened. I was sleeping at night. I knew the neighborhood wasn't super safe. So that was my first mistake. I parked in an unsafe neighborhood, right? So then I'm like drifting off to sleep and I didn't have my window covers up because I'm like that comfortable sometimes where I don't even put my window covers up.
Oh man.
So anyway, there's this dude, he's like peering into this window right here. And I look and I see and I was like, I don't know, my initial reaction was, because his face was right here, like knocked super hard in the window, like right in his face. And he got spooked. And he like took off, and he had his buddy in his getaway car. So he ran to his buddy in the getaway car and they took off. So, I mean, in that scenario, you could be like, okay, that was scary. I'm gonna get in my car. I'm gonna go somewhere else, you know? Or you could be like me and thugged out and get in your element and chase these fools down and teach them a lesson.
Well, that's
So-
okay, boy.
I know. It was a mistake.
Oh, you did?
I did. But the thing
Oh.
is, like I was in a like primal like
Gotcha.
rage mode. Like this is not a normal side that people see in me. Anyway,
Damn.
I know, scary. So then, the second time, the same exact scenario happened. Like someone was like looking into this window right here, and I was same idea. I was like just drifting off to sleep. I did the same thing where I like knocked on the window super hard, and then they took off, and then I still chased after them because I didn't learn my lesson the first. God. Anyway, so I did a little research about like self-defense. Like what's the best like self-defense sort of thing you can do? And this one video, they talked about a flashlight,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
right? Because like he said, hey, get a small flashlight, something you can hold in one hand, and like if you're ever in some sort of like altercation of sorts, like you can straight up just like blind them. Like you just like you flash the light, and then they're like, oh, I can't see, and then you.
Funny you say that.
Yeah.
Because I actually met these 2 brothers, Ashton and Tito. They live out there Forerunners with their 2 dogs.
That's
and
right.
One of them is a combat veteran, right? But he told me, like, your number one defense is obviously diffuse.
Right.
First thing.
Right.
But you might be in a situation like that. Let's say that guy didn't peel off right away. He said, like, he actually showed me the flashlight they used. You can actually really distort someone's vision.
Yeah.
And it might give you a couple of seconds of just to get the fuck out.
Right. Totally.
Sorry, to get
That's
to
it.
get out.
I think YouTube changed it where you can curse now.
Oh.
So
No, okay. No, but that's great. Those are great tips, because the one scenario I have had, actually made a short about it, was I was charging after hours. So first of all, I was in the wrong. At a library, sentry mode went off. So I'm like, I instantly got up, right? And then I heard radio chatter. So I'm like, okay, it might be police. And he says, is anybody in there? But he couldn't see inside. I could see him through the cameras, but he had no idea it was in there because I got my privacy screens.
Right.
But he was there for 2 minutes. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go talk to him. But I was still skeptical, right? Because anybody could say police at the middle of the night and try to convince you that, okay. So I ended up using like the megaphone.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I'm like, sir, get away from my car. Because like, come talk to me. This is officer blah, 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 blah. So I just rolled down the window and said, hey, officer, what's up? He goes like, you can't be parking here. I'm like, what do you mean? It's after hours. What do you mean? Can't park here. So I was like, okay. I mean, I apologize. He said, do you have any friends you could stay at? I'm like, well, I'm just reading a book here, just charging up. So he's like, okay, that's fine. Didn't even ask for my ID. I said, do you want my ID? I mean, I know he ran my plates.
Yeah.
Because I could hear it on the radio.
Right.
But so that was the only confrontation I've had where somebody like woke me up at night, and thankfully it was actual police. Right. I think that is your, you could say, best case scenario, in a way. Yeah, maybe next time I don't use the megaphone because he really got spooked, and you never know how a police officer's going to react to that, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, I really wanted to give this a try.
You know. Well, like I gotta be honest. Even though I've had these like two scenarios, like it really didn't bother me that much.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like out of the 3+ years I've been doing this, I've had 2 instances. I feel like it's fine. Like I still feel really safe. Like it didn't bother me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't stay at those spots anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I don't fear. I don't have fear.
That's great. That's really great.
Yeah.
Oh, talking about fear. This is one thing. I told my mom this so I can talk about it now.
Okay.
I've actually been hit by a homeless man.
Hit?
Right? Hit. Did I tell you that before? No, I don't think we talked about that. This was, so I just driven 12 hours basically for Uber Eats. So I was tired, hungry, and just wanted Chipotle. And there was a homeless man in front of the Chipotle store pacing back and forth, but people were going around him. So I was like, you know, I'm going to go around him. Maybe he's hungry. So I was like, also in my mind, maybe I buy him some food that day. But he came to me really fast and he said, he looked like a kickboxer. And then he hit me like twice in my chest. And I backed off right away. I'm like, what just happened? Like I was in shock.
Right.
Because it was so quick. I think the mistake I made was I got too close to him, I think. So I've kind of learned to always keep your distance. But like talking about living with fear, what I did 2 weeks later is, well, I didn't press charges either. The cops came, you know, I just didn't want to deal with it. You know, he was obviously unstable, so I let the police deal with that. It wasn't worth my time to really pursue. I mean, he hit me, but it wasn't like a full-out swing. But, you know, it's still like battery. That's what the cops said. Anyways, a couple of weeks later, I was doing like a delivery for Uber Eats, and they were taking forever. But there was a gentleman outside that, you know, he had a sign like, hey, anything for food. So I was like, hey, what do you want? So I bought him a burrito. But it was for me just trying to teach myself, like, these are still people.
Right.
Like, I feel like I'm not homeless in any form or way. But sometimes I can relate to certain things to them. You know, obviously, you don't know their situation. But when somebody's hungry, like, if you can give something, like, I'm not going to give them money, but I'll just buy them like a meal. Like a warm meal. Usually if they ask for it, you know, I've learned to not go to somebody. If they ask, it's different, you know, because you can kind of gauge their state of mind better. And I've learned, like, keep your distance, right? Give yourself that maybe 2 seconds of reaction time. And I'm going to take self-defense classes.
There you go.
I actually met a cop at Planet Fitness who wants to actually teach me self-defense for free. I mean, he's a retired lieutenant.
And tango lessons.
And tango lessons. 2 things I'm doing. Well, the first thing I'm already doing. The second thing I'm going to do when I go to San Francisco.
Nice. So I wanted to show off my my little bags I have here.
I did see this.
So like these are like little I forget what they call them, moly panel bags, right? And they a lot of like overlanders and like military guys use these bags. But like look, it's right here. I'll just like unzip it real quick, and then boom, I've got like my flashlight. Bam.
Holy crap!
So it's just like right there.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. So, and I have multiple, but it's like, it's right here. I know where it's at all times because like, yes, you gotta like hold it down. for a really long time, and then it'll turn on.
Oh, that shit's
It's
bright.
super bright. It actually doubles as like a spearfishing flashlight because it's it's waterproof.
All right, so don't mess with this element.
Yeah,
Good luck.
but it's nice because it's like right here. It's quick, boom, boom. You know what I mean? And then it's good to go.
Man.
And my GoPro's in there too.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, this was fun.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me,
Dude, thank you. Any closing thoughts?
If you want to travel, you don't need a lot, actually.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Everything I own is in that car, except for a couple Lego pieces in my mom's house. But yeah, you don't even need a Tesla. Personally, it's something that I wanted. You can do it with other cars, like an Element. I actually think this car was electric. I might purchase it. I don't like gas cars anymore because just with inflation and just gas prices, like $6 a gallon. No.
I mean, I absolutely love this car. Like it's big, but it's not too big.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like a Sprinter. It still gets decent gas mileage. Setup's nice for like 1 or 2 people. I love this car.
Yeah,
so.
dude. But thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. So we'll leave links down below to Sandro's YouTube channel. So check him out, give him a subscribe. Also be sure to subscribe to this one as well and give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Cheers, guys.